got the idea for the book from something that really happened. That was back in 2004. The earthquake that caused the tsunami in Indonesia was so powerful that it also affected the rotation of the planet. And as I wrote the book, I did do research because it was important to me that the book feel very real and convincing. So I did scientific research, and then at the end, when I had a full draft, I had an astrophysicist read it for scientific accuracy. The book is narrated by a woman named Julia, who is looking back on her childhood in close detail, looking back on the year when this catastrophe of the slowing first began. And as I wrote a book about this young girl growing up in California, I definitely did draw on my own memories of my own childhood, my own adolescence. Although Julia is an invented character, and the things that happened to her did not happen to me. But I have strong memories of just the emotions of that time, how sensitive I felt, and like Julia, I was an only child and a little bit shy, and I just remember that transition from childhood to the beginning of, being a teenager as really hard. And so I wanted to try to capture that moment when there's so many firsts in life happening at once, realizing that your parents have flaws, that some of your friendships might not last forever, but also good things like, beginning to sort of fall in love for the first time. So one of the first things that happens after the rotation of the Earth starts to slow down is that the length of a day on Earth is no longer 24 hours. So the 24-hour clock no longer applies to day and to night on Earth. And so some people respond to this by trying to remain on the 24-hour clock anyway, which then means they're completely out of sync with daylight and darkness. But another group of people, a minority, known as real timers, they try to stay in tune with the rising and setting of the sun, even though that means that their days and their nights are incredibly long. So I think if I was in this situation, I would probably kind of admire the real timers, the ones who try to stay in tune with daylight, but it doesn't appeal to me to have to live outside of society, and I think that part of it would be really hard. And so in the end, I'd probably be sort of a reluctant and practical clock timer, as it's called in the book, and stay on the 24-hour clock, even though that would feel very chaotic. But I think that divide between different responses, especially to a catastrophe, I think that does come from our real world. It's something that I see, that there is like a splintering, especially in extreme times between people, and it's hard to see for these two groups of people, just like in our real world, to see each other's point of view.